Adolf Hitler is one of the most infamous figures in world history. His actions as the leader of Nazi Germany led to World War II. He is also responsible for the Holocaust, which resulted in the deaths of 6 million Jews. Hitler's impact on the world is profound and far-reaching. Understanding his life and the events of his time is crucial. Hitler's rise to power was marked by a blend of charisma and ruthless tactics. His ability to manipulate mass media and public opinion was unparalleled. He created a regime that promoted extreme nationalism and racial purity. These ideas led to widespread persecution and violence. The consequences of Hitler's rule are still felt today. His actions reshaped international relations and human rights. The world continues to learn from the horrors of his regime. This essay will explore his life, policies, and the lasting impact of his actions. Understanding Hitler's legacy is important for preventing similar atrocities. By studying his life and the impact of his actions, we can work towards a more just and humane world. This essay aims to provide a clear and engaging overview of Hitler's dark legacy. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, Austria. He was the fourth of 6 children. His early life was marked by struggle and hardship. Rejected by the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, he moved to Vienna and lived a poor, isolated life. During this time, he developed his ideas about German nationalism and anti-Semitism. He joined the German army during World War I and was awarded the Iron Cross. He joined the German Workers' Party, which would later become the Nazi Party. His powerful speeches attracted many followers. By 1921, he was the leader of the Nazi Party. One of Hitler's most effective tools was propaganda. He understood the power of mass media and used it to his advantage. Joseph Goebbels, his Minister of Propaganda, played a crucial role. Together they created a sophisticated propaganda machine. The Nazi propaganda emphasized the idea of a pure Aryan race. It portrayed Jews and other minorities as enemies. This message was spread through newspapers, radio, films and posters. The propaganda was designed to create fear and hatred. Hitler's speeches were a key part of the propaganda effort. He was a charismatic speaker who could captivate large audiences. His speeches were broadcast across Germany, reaching millions of people. He used simple, emotional language to connect with ordinary Germans. The propaganda also glorified Hitler as a strong and decisive leader. He was portrayed as the savior of Germany. This image helped him gain and maintain control. The propaganda machine was crucial in creating a totalitarian state. It suppressed opposition and controlled public opinion. Hitler's rise to power was marked by a combination of legal and illegal methods. The economic crisis of the 1920s and 30s helped him gain support. Many Germans were desperate for a solution. Hitler promised to restore Germany's greatness. In 1933, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. He quickly moved to consolidate power. He used the Reichstag fire as an excuse to pass the Reichstag fire decree. This gave him emergency powers. He then pushed through the Enabling Act, which allowed him to rule by decree. With these powers, Hitler eliminated political opposition. He banned other political parties and arrested their leaders. The Nazi Party became the only legal party in Germany. Hitler also targeted trade unions and other organizations. He created a police state where dissent was not tolerated. By 1934, Hitler had become the undisputed leader of Germany. He adopted the title of Führer, meaning leader. His rise to power was complete. He now had the authority to implement his radical ideas. The stage was set for the horrors that would follow. Section 5. Policies of Persecution. One of the most tragic aspects of Hitler's regime was the persecution of minorities. Jews, Romani people, disabled individuals and other groups were targeted. Hitler's policies were based on his belief in racial purity. He believed that these groups were inferior and a threat to German society. The Nuremberg Laws, passed in 1935, institutionalized racial discrimination. These laws stripped Jews of their citizenship and rights. They prohibited marriage between Jews and non-Jews. The laws were the first step in a series of escalating persecutions. The persecution soon turned violent. Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, occurred in November 1938. Jewish homes, businesses and synagogues were attacked. Thousands of Jews were arrested and sent to concentration camps. This event marked a turning point in the Nazi regime's treatment of Jews. The persecution culminated in the Holocaust. 6 million Jews were systematically murdered. Millions of others, including Romani people and political opponents, were also killed. The Holocaust is one of the darkest chapters in human history. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of hatred and intolerance. Section 6, World War II and the Holocaust. World War II began in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. Hitler aimed to expand German territory and establish a new order. He wanted a vast empire ruled by the Aryan race. The war saw brutal fighting and mass destruction. The Holocaust continued during the war. The Nazis built extermination camps across Europe. The Allied forces liberated the concentration camps. The Nuremberg trials brought Nazi leaders to justice. Section 7. Impact on Germany and the world. The impact of Hitler's regime on Germany and the world was immense. Germany was left in ruins by the end of World War II. The country was divided into East and West Germany. The rebuilding process took many years. The scars of the war and the Holocaust were deep. The world was also changed by Hitler's actions. The United Nations was established to promote peace and prevent future conflicts. The horrors of the Holocaust led to greater efforts to protect human rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted in 1948. The Cold War emerged as a result of the power vacuum left by the war. The United States and the Soviet Union became the two superpowers. The ideological conflict between capitalism and communism dominated global politics for decades. Hitler's actions also had a lasting impact on the study of history. Historians and scholars have extensively studied his regime. The lessons learned from this dark period continue to inform discussions on ethics, governance, and human rights. The world remains vigilant against the ideologies that led to such atrocities. Section 8. The Fall of Hitler. The final years of World War II saw the collapse of Hitler's regime. The Allied forces advanced from the west, while the Soviet Union pushed from the east. Hitler's plans for a 1,000-year Reich were crumbling. His leadership became increasingly erratic. In April 1945, Soviet forces entered Berlin. The city was under siege. Hitler retreated to his bunker. He refused to surrender and continued to issue orders. However, it was clear that the end was near. Many of his close associates deserted him. On April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker. He was joined by his wife, Eva Braun, who also took her own life. Their bodies were found by his staff and later burned. The fall of Hitler marked the end of the Nazi regime. Germany surrendered on May 8, 1945. The fall of Hitler brought relief to millions. The war in Europe was over. The task of rebuilding and seeking justice began. The world faced the challenge of dealing with the aftermath of the war and the horrors of the Holocaust. The fall of Hitler was a turning point in history. Section 9. Legacy and long-term consequences. The legacy of Adolf Hitler is one of destruction and horror. His actions led to the deaths of millions. The impact of his regime continues to be felt. The world has worked to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. One of the key lessons from Hitler's regime is the importance of vigilance. The rise of totalitarianism and the dangers of unchecked power are ever present. Democracies around the world have taken steps to protect human rights and prevent the rise of dictators. The Holocaust has had a profound impact on our understanding of human cruelty. It has led to the development of international laws against genocide. Memorials and museums have been established to honor the victims. Education about the Holocaust is essential to prevent future atrocities. The long-term consequences of Hitler's actions include the ongoing fight against anti-Semitism and racism. The world continues to confront these issues. By remembering the past, we can work towards a future based on tolerance and respect. The legacy of Hitler serves as a warning and a call to action. Section 10. Conclusion. The importance of studying this history. Studying the history of Adolf Hitler and his regime is crucial. It helps us understand the dangers of hatred and intolerance. His rise to power and the atrocities committed during his rule are a stark reminder of the fragility of democracy. By learning about Hitler's life and actions, we can better understand the importance of human rights. We can appreciate the value of diversity and the need to protect vulnerable groups. The lessons from this dark period in history are relevant today. The impact of Hitler's regime is still felt. The world continues to grapple with the consequences. By studying this history, we honor the memory of the victims. We work towards a future where such horrors are never repeated. In conclusion, the dark legacy of Adolf Hitler is a powerful reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and hatred. By studying this history, we can learn valuable lessons. We can strive to create a world based on justice, tolerance, and respect for all humanity.